We got some breaking news pertaining to the Warriors. We'll reveal that and so much more next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow Larry Krueger, the host of the Krueg Show, folks. They're not booing, they're Krueger. At Sports Larry K. You're going to subscribe to the Krueg Show. Larry, Adrian Wojnarowski dropping this bomb. I'll share the tweet as well.
Woj.
Yeah, Woj. And he's on Threads as well, folks. So so in case folks, you're considering switching platforms, Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that the Golden State Warriors are waiving Rudy Gay and Rodney McGruder. That's tough, man. Just minutes after the game. And planning to start the regular season with 13 players on the roster, sources tell ESPN. First of all, I believe the rules prohibit a team from starting with 13 players. So I don't know how that's going to work exactly. But look, we haven't seen Rudy Gay in a number of games now. He did look kind of slow out there. It's hard to really say that he impressed. Rodney McGruder missed the first 4 games because of, I believe, a concussion. Finally, we see him tonight. I thought he looked good. I wasn't going to be critical of him, but he's done. Your thoughts and reaction to the Warriors now down to 13 players. I'm very curious to see who they signed for that 14 spot.
Yeah, I mean, what's your read on it? I mean, to me, Rudy Gay, I didn't love the Rudy Gay edition. I just didn't. I mean, you have veteran leaders on this team. You have added some young players who know how to play. To me, what the Warriors need is more young players who know how to play the team game more than just a veteran influence. They have veteran influences on the roster. They once they get 25 games into the season, and Draymond's sitting out, and Klay's sitting out, and Steph's sitting out, and Paul can't play, they're going to need able-bodied young players who can play and know how to play. Mm-hmm. So I would have looked for another high IQ young player, somebody who could actually play significant minutes.
Yes, agreed.
I'm not really, and not that they're going to play significant minutes, but I think, the best way to build a roster is when you have guys that can, play significant minutes. Somebody reacted to the Woj story by saying Terrence Ross and Wenyen Gabriel are Warriors.
Well, Wenyen Gabriel, I thought, was signed by the Celtics, so I don't think that's unless he got waived.
This is just somebody who's maybe commenting. Maybe he's wishing that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, look, Nerlens Noel's is out there. That's a name that I brought up. But it seems like that's not the player the Warriors want. We can entertain.
They've had opportunities there.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's what the Warriors are looking for. Now, look, the Warriors looked small tonight. They were getting abused by the Wembanyama, Zach Collins front court. I mean, what is your thought on Wemby by the way, real fast? I haven't had a chance to ask you your opinion on him. Dude, that guy could be unstoppable in a year or two, if not now. I mean, that's scary. That is scary watching a dude who's 7'4" can do all that. I don't know how you stop that. I think Greg Popovich is just literally basking in glory right now in terms of what to go. What's your thought on this guy, man?
I mean, this guy's I've never seen any player that size with that level of fluidity. He's literally looks like somebody who's before his time. We're talking about a guy who's 7'3", 225 pounds.
Crazy. And
can see the floor, pass, dribble, shoot. He's scary. He's scary.
Yeah, he is.
If he can just stay healthy, if I were the Spurs, I would, kind of keep his minutes low this year, let him kind of build up his body so he doesn't have any kind of catastrophic injuries. But as long, because like Chet Holmgren already lost a full year because he wasn't really physically developed. This guy's a little thin, but man, I mean, the part of his game that's amazing is his vision of the floor and his ability to pass and willingness to pass.
Yep. Wholeheartedly agree. Wenyen Gabriel, by the way, is available. The Celtics have waived him. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, if he was that good, why are the Celtics waiving him? But I've always liked him. He's an athletic big. He's got a long wingspan. I believe he stands 6'9" with a wingspan that's 7'1". I would love it. I would be happy with Winnie and Gabriel, but I have no idea what this means. Maybe they convert one of those two-way spots and give it to Lester Quinones, who, by the way, Lester Quinones looks damn good too. This
he can shoot. He's got some range. He's got some length to him. There's something to like there. It could be just something as simple as they saw Rudy Gay. They feel like he's aged out.
Yeah.
And, they weren't sure how their roster was going to come together. So they kind of went for a veteran, but maybe they look at it now and say, you know what? Let's compare Rudy and what he is and what he can contribute to what's out there. I mean, Kai Jones got cut, right? He's out there.
Yep.
If you want,
I don't know if the Warriors would take a spin on him. I don't know. What do you think? Would you think they'd do that? Get someone like him?
I just think that there's probably going to be a number of players around the league that are going to shake out. When's the final cut down to? Is it tonight, tomorrow?
Well, my understanding is I'm reading this. This is courtesy of Anthony Slater, and I got a second source as well that they have to sign that 14th or fill that 14th roster spot by November 6th. So I guess the team does have 2 weeks plus to make a decision on that 14th roster spot. Look, Rudy Gay could come back. I mean, just because these players were cut doesn't mean they can't re-sign them. But it's weird. It is a weird move. It could be. Part of me wonders, look, I mean, the Warriors have made interesting decisions in the past to save a few bucks. Maybe just by not paying anyone for 2.5 weeks, you're saving a few $100,000. I don't know. Maybe it's something as simple as that. Who knows? But it is kind of weird, man. It is weird. Who would you like to see the Warriors get? And if you don't have a name, Larry, like what kind of player? Like, do you want them to get a traditional big, like a Nerlens Noel's, like a Winnie and Gabriel? Would you prefer going with what it seems Kerr and Dunleavy Jr. want, which is another athletic wing who is multifaceted, who could defend 1 through 5? What would you like if you're the GM? What would you pursue for the Warriors?
Well, I mean, they're always, a little small. Right. I mean, it would be nice if one of those players could be a big. I do like Usman Garuba, though, because Garuba's, developing 3-point shot. He can shoot, 41%. It's kind of a set shot, but he's also got 7'2" length. He can get his hands in the passing lanes. He can block shots. I think the best of Usman Garuba is coming right now.
Yeah.
So I like that pickup quite a bit. I would just like to have, once again, I really believe in this. It doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. You can be talking about football. You can talk about hockey. You can talk about basketball. You can talk about baseball. You win when you have a good core of guys in their prime years. And I think you lose when you have too high a percentage of your roster that's either too old or too young. In this sport, it's easy to get too old and too young. There's contracts that keep guys holding around, sticking around 2-3 years out after their usefulness. And then there's guys that are coming into the league and they're just trying to, secure the bag, and they know they're going to get picked, and some agent lies to them and they don't have a very developed game. And then all of a sudden you look up and you got 2, 3, 4, 5 of these guys on your roster and you can't win. So that's a problem. Yeah, so I would say anybody who's in that young veteran mold. They're not in their first year. They're not in their second year, but they could play significant minutes and play a role, and they're in the prime years of their career. That's what I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Some guys who are in their prime, because you still have, look at this. You look at this team there. If you just want to say are they still really young and really old? Okay. Who's really young? Pajemski's really young. Quinones, really young.
Kuminga.
Trayce Jackson-Davis is young. Kuminga and Moody are young. So those guys right there. And then so you got 5 guys that are all pretty young. And then with age, Chris Paul's 38, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. So you got 4 players that are older. And then you got 4 or 5 players that are young. I'd like to see somebody who's more in their prime. If they could find somebody who's between the ages of 25 and 30, that would be great. And preferably one big and one athlete who can guard multiple positions on the wing.
Just check out the Krueg Show on YouTube and FanDuel right now. You can tease. You can do all of that stuff when it comes to the gambling action with FanDuel. New customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place just a $5 bet. You bet $5, you get $200 free from FanDuel. That's a hell of a deal. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Right now, the Locked On Ultimate NBA Season Preview is here. It's a 6-episode series. All 30 of the Locked On NBA team shows and the hosts participated in this, myself included, from contenders to tankers. We went in depth into the biggest storylines heading into the NBA season, which starts next week. Catch all 6 episodes on Locked On NBA, and it's also available now on our stream. You can follow Larry Krueger on Twitter at SportsLarryK, and please subscribe to the Krueg Show, which I believe are you at 25,000 subs, brother? Like, you started with 0, not even 2 years ago. What, a year and a half ago?
We're approaching 27,000 right
Jesus Christ, I can't even keep up with you. You're at 27. I apologize. You're killing it there. You're killing it everywhere. Right now, we're talking Warriors. You know, Zolas here in the chat asked a question. The season starts next Tuesday. I had a lot of questions in my own mind about this Warriors team going into the preseason, and I think a lot of people did, because there's a lot of new faces coming off how they played last year. There was a level of discouragement. I'm giddy, man. I've been saying this for a while now. I'm incredibly optimistic. I love the chemistry on this team. When you factor in wingspan as part of the overall package for an individual athlete, they're not as small as they are on paper, because a lot of these players who maybe aren't 7 feet are coming in with like wingspans that are longer than 7 feet. And that does make a difference. Like when those hands are up, when those hands are wide to block passing lanes, that extra length is factoring into the defense. So I don't know if size is as big of an issue anymore as I thought. I'm incredibly encouraged by what I've seen this preseason. I think that, the test is going to be the Nuggets. The Nuggets are the defending champs, but the Nuggets are also vulnerable. They lost 2 key bench pieces. I had George Karl on the show yesterday, and he's like a fervent Nuggets fan. That was his former team as a head coach, and he continues rooting for him living in Colorado. But he was discouraged on the show yesterday when he said that by them losing Bruce Brown and also losing Green, that those are 2 important veteran pieces from your bench that are just poof, gone. They in other words, they lost significant depth. Christian Brown might make up for that. The rookie they drafted this year, I always forget his name, might make up for that, but it also might not. And the other factor for the Nuggets that goes against them, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, and it's a huge variable for why teams don't repeat as world champions, is hunger, motivation. They've got the ring. The motivation just simply is not the same when you win a championship. Psychologically speaking, that thirst has been quenched. The thirst is just not there for a repeat the same way it is for that first title. So the Nuggets have a few things going against them. The Warriors are motivated. The Warriors are hungry. Steph wants that fifth ring, and rightfully so, because where it puts him in terms of legacy, it's a whole new stratosphere between 4 and 5 championships. I love this team. I'm feeling great about them. I think they're a bit better than the Suns. I think they're going to really send a message Tuesday. How are you feeling about the Warriors, man? The season starts next week. What are your thoughts?
Well, quick thought on the Nuggets. I did catch them once already, and I love the kid from Gonzaga that they have, the guard Strother, the 6'7" guard who can flat out shoot it. That's a nice guard. He's going to improve. As far as the Warriors go, the over-under is 47.5 wins, which I think is right on it. On it.
Yeah.
They won 44 last year. They're a year older, but they're also deeper.
Much
deeper.
Yeah.
So I think 47.5 is right on the number. I'd probably go over. To me, they look like they're headed towards a 50 win season.
Same. I agree.
But I would say I don't know how many more over 50 wins. Also it's like I'm a little I'm a little influenced by the fact that Chris Paul looks so good right now. And he, when you're watching him, you almost have to remind yourself this guy is 38. And the Warriors play up tempo, and he doesn't play this tempo. And how many games can he play before he breaks? So that's a big question. And obviously Steph and Klay, Draymond, their health is a big part of it as well. I mean, if they have reasonable health from their veterans, I think they're a 50-win team.
I agree with you.
If they don't have reasonable health from their veterans, they could be a 40-win team and not make the playoffs. So I think it's all there. I think that's the range. I would say if everything goes right, I think it's maybe a 50-win team and they could be in the conference finals. And that's where I think they top out. And if things go poorly, I could see them winning 40 and not making the playoffs. And people saying, "What's the future?"
Yeah, CP writes that. Rich Dub writes that Chris Paul is prone to late season hamstring injuries. That's where Rick Celebrini, work your magic, my friend. You got Otto Porter Jr. playing a whole season. Make it happen with Chris Paul. I'm encouraged for a lot of reasons. I think that depth that they have this year is a huge reason why I think they're going to surpass that 50-win mark. This is a night and day difference of a roster between last year and this year. It's so fundamentally different. We haven't even seen Draymond Green play a minute yet, and the Warriors are looking this good. Klay Thompson has played like trash so far in this preseason. Sorry to be so blunt about it, but he has. Look at the numbers. Look at the eye test. He's not impressing out there, and the Warriors are still looking impressive. I'm feeling damn good about this team. We'll see what happens. Larry, promote away, man. Unless there's anything else you feel like we need to talk about, promote away, man. You got a lot of stuff going on. Promote your show, social media, all of it, man. What's going on with you?
Well, Sports Larry K on Twitter, and then follow me on YouTube. We've had 1.6 million views of our content on YouTube. Just in the last 4 weeks alone, we've had 215,000 watch hours. We've added almost 3,000 subs just in the last month alone. So the channel is growing. We do a lot of Niners, but Tuesday night we're gonna switch gears and start doing Warriors. If you watch me in the springtime, Cy was on a lot.
I'm back. If you'll have
Bay
me,
Area
I'm always
Baller, Frank Red, Carl Foster, several of my favorites in the basketball. My buddies who like to chop it up and talk Warrior basketball. We're going to do that quite a bit. I'm going to do a reaction video after every Warrior game that I can this year, and then we're going to pop on and do live streams and chop it up and just have some fun. And people should come on over. It's like almost like the post game party. I'm not claiming that it's the most knowledgeable post-game show of all time. It's just a bunch of guys who like basketball, who like each other, and are going to chop it up and have fun. So look for that Tuesday night after Warriors Suns. We'll come on probably about 15 minutes after the game and wrap for 90 minutes or so. And I'm looking forward to a great year. I like you. I'm incredibly encouraged.
I like you. I like
because
you.
My the thing that's so exciting is also the thing that would be my biggest concern is Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the most exciting and the biggest concern. He's 38. He's got tons of mileage on his body, but man, he's such a smart player. He's such a winner. He's such a competitor. It will be really refreshing to watch a player who elevates consistently in the fourth quarter with the money on the table. And that's what I love about Chris Paul. I mean, and I don't think it really matters. I think all this talk about, is he going to start? Is he coming off the bench? I don't think it really matters. I think it really more matters about, is he in there at the end? And he will be. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about the potential for Chris Paul, making some mid-range. I mean, the one thing about the Warriors, they get a little three happy. They get a little three happy. And to me, they've always needed a Chris Paul steadying force who can knock down that mid-range shot. For years, it was Sean Livingston on the low block. They had to have a bucket. As many great players as they always had, they would go to Livingston. Yep. And Livingston would go down on the block, square up the shoulders, do a little dream shake, and then turn around and hit that face-up thing. Well, Chris Paul doesn't do that, but Chris Paul will square the shoulders from 12 to 18 and knock that shot down with, even when he's covered. And on this team, there's enough other options, and there's so much gravity to Steph Curry, even at this advanced age, that I think Chris Paul is going to get a lot of open looks in the fourth quarter, and Chris Paul's going to knock those down. So to me, if you could tell me that Chris Paul was going to be healthy, I would bet the over with confidence. I'm a little concerned about, can he play their pace, and how many games can he play at their pace? But he's a winner, and it feels good to have a winner added to their mix.
And an encouraging thought in terms of his long-term health this season is the fact that there isn't a huge impetus on him. They're not going to rely on him the way other teams in the past have. He's not the starting point guard. He's going to be the backup point guard. There's going to be nights where he rests and they won't play him at all because they don't need him, right? They're a deep team who can rest him now and again. He's not going to get heavy workload minutes either. Like you're probably going to get 20, 25 minutes a night. Whereas his last year with the Suns, for example, he was playing over 30 still. It's incredible the way they used him there, or they misused him, maybe is the better way to put it. I saw this one comment, and I have to go to it real fast because I just disagree with it so much that I have to quickly jump in. And this is from a chat person named V, who says Trayce Jackson-Davis is not ready for Anthony Davis and Joker. You might be correct, but look, who is? Those are the two most elite bigs in the game. And secondly, what I saw that gives me encouragement and that gives me some relief at this idea you're broaching is he did play against Domantas Sabonis just the other night, and he held his own. He more than held his own, playing a lot of minutes in a game that had regular season intensity to it. He did fine. He was not a liability. The kid, he comes off as a veteran, man. And those 4 years in college clearly show the fact that he is a progeny of an NBA legend in Dale Davis shows. I'm not worried about him at all, man. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the guy to worry about.
Exactly.
I'll tell you the other thing that I think is really exciting is, and the one skill that transfers, it's like if you watch college football and then you say, well, what's that guy going to do in the NFL? The one thing that transfers from college football to the pros is sacks. If you get sacks in college, you're going to get sacks in the pros.
Yeah.
The one thing in basketball that translates is rebounding. And the one thing I love about Podziemski is Podziemski rebounds. And so I think on a team like the Warriors, especially once you get 15, 20 games in, and you've got some of these guys that don't move well laterally and don't necessarily corral rebounds, the fact that he's such a tenacious, aggressive, rebounder, that his rebounding skills are so advanced for a guard, I think you're going to see, and he knows how to play, and he understands good shot selection. I think those three factors right there mean that Podziemski plays a lot of minutes, and I think he's going to be a very nice addition. He rebounds. He's going to be a defensive liability, but he rebounds. He knows how to play. He understands good shot selection, bad shot selection. He understands, when a shot's been created for him that he has to take. There's a lot of rookies that, they're ball stoppers, or they, the shot that's created for them, they still don't understand that it's created for them and are hesitant to take. This guy understands how the game works. He's playing the game right now like a 5-year veteran. And I just love, I wasn't sure when I watched him in the summer. He had so many turnovers in the open floor. It seemed like the length of NBA defenders bothered him. And it seemed like he was just not used to the speed of the defense. And he had a bunch of boneheaded turnovers. But I'll tell you, watching him now, he's made the adjustment. He understands what part of his game translates, how he can contribute. And I just think that the vibe around Podziemski is so good because what he does well, he's going to continue to do well.
Yeah,
he can flat out shoot, and he can rebound. He knows how to play. He's got a really advanced floater game. I just think that he's going to be really nice. I really do.
And look, he shot. I saw one comment in the chat that said he can't shoot. He shot 43.8% from beyond the arc in college last year. He has a quick release. Do not judge him based on summer league. Stephen Curry's first summer league was a disaster as well. Now, the kid is a whole package, even defensively. I don't see him as a liability. He might not be locking down other players at this stage of his career, but he's not letting people blow.
He's pesky.
He's pesky. He is pesky, and he's strong, dude. He's a strong player. I absolutely love him. And another thing I want to add before we wrap it up, Kuminga, his rebounding, he's focused on it. He said in an interview the other day that the coaching staff, and he's allowing this, he's welcoming this. And I love that attitude of the coaching staff is getting on him in practice every time he doesn't grab a rebound. And the focus of it is huge. I saw a play tonight, for example, where not only did he grab a tough offensive board, but then his passing has improved as well. He's finding a lot of open teammates, oftentimes on the run inside. And in this particular play, he grabbed the offensive board, could have put it back himself, but instead kicked it out to Chris Paul, who is also a surprisingly solid three-point shooter. He made 2 threes tonight. He's not he's no schlub from beyond the arc either. And I'm just seeing so many things about this team that are positives. They're going to overwhelm other teams, and these young players are just going to get better throughout the season with the experience they gain. I'm encouraged, man. I'm getting.
There's also one.
This team.
You should put Linda Nikel's thing here. Infectious positive energy.
Yep.
The Warriors right now. I mean, let's be honest. We've all watched a lot of Warrior basketball. I've watched the Warriors going back to Bernard King and Lloyd Free and almost Rick Barry's era, but he was a little bit before me. But like late 70s. The Warriors consistently outside, even when they were horrible, outside of a couple of years, maybe the final year of KD and last year, they always played with this infectious joy. And even when they were crap, they played with infectious joy. Last year, they did not. Last year, they had bad chemistry. And so you've heard the guys, say many times, we're tied together. We're tied together. We're tied together. The chemistry is so good. And I love that Kerr kind of acknowledged that last year was a huge failure and he was a huge part of that failure. And I feel like he owned it. He didn't own it necessarily in season. He owned it more out of season, but I can understand that.
Kind of. He also said that he doesn't regret playing Jerome and Lamb the way he did. But I hear what you're saying, though. Generally speaking, yes, you're correct. All right,
he acknowledged that he needed to bring that group along better than he did.
Yes.
And this year they have such a great vibe. They've got such a great vibe. They've got more players who know how to play. They're deeper. They're more joyous. They're sharing the basketball. There's a great vibe about Golden State. So, you add efficient players who know how to play. You add youth that knows how to play, and you have a great chemistry. I think 50. 50. I feel good about the 50 wins. I really do.
I agree.
And not only that, I think it's going to be an enjoyable maybe most importantly, whether they win a title or not, I still think it's a long shot. Yeah. But they are going to be a fun team to watch every night. You're going to want to tune in. And I agree. If I were the coaching staff, I would figure out some way to funnel Kuminga $1,000 for every rebound. And just be like, hey, we're going to pay you we're going to pay you in cash at the end before you leave the locker room. We're going to give you cash. We're going to give you $1,000 for every rebound because if he starts turning the rebounding thing into his taking, a lot of interest in rebounding the basketball.
He already is this year. That's what's great about it.
That would be great. And I'll tell you the other thing that's really exciting about him is, he's one of the guys that can get to the rim at will.
Yep.
So the fact that he's looking to make plays and not just try to finish everything also is going to set up the Trayce Jackson-Davises of the world for, Trayce Jackson-Davis is going to wind up with lines where he has 15 and 10. And he never really shot the ball. He just dunked and rolled and, shot little bunnies and layups. Because if he plays off of Kuminga's going to draw, he's going to draw attention going to the bucket. And then you've already got Paul and Steph and Draymond and others who can find Trayce Jackson-Davis. I think Trayce Jackson-Davis is going to be an outstanding player because he knows how to play. And he's on a team with other guys who know how to set him up.
I absolutely agree. And for the folks, again, who panic about the Warriors handling the Jokic's and the ADs, you have Draymond in the fourth quarter for that. You just need some help in the middle of the games. And I feel good, again, about Trayce Jackson-Davis, Dario Saric. We haven't even seen – you keep mentioning Usman Garuba. We've barely seen him this preseason, but I'm with you. From the brief moments we've seen him, I love him. Baby Dre. We had a we had Kevon Looney on the show a couple weeks ago, and I brought that up with him that he looks like Draymond Green, and Looney said that Dre probably wouldn't like that, but he agreed. Like the guy, I don't know if you agree with that or not. The guy looks like Draymond Green.
Well, he's got the same body type, right? They're both 6'8", but they both play 6'11", you know, and so he's got that. What I love about Garuba is that he shot the three at 41% last year. I'll tell you, if there's one thing that I could add, I mean, somebody in here said Frank Kaminsky. That would be I would love if they had one more big who knew how to play, who could knock down a perimeter shot. Because let's think about it. When you get into the games themselves, what do you need from that big? You're not going to get some awesome big man who's going to, dominate the lane. I mean, those guys are in the lottery. Those guys are in the draft. But, man, a guy like Kaminsky who knows how to play, who can knock down perimeter shots, a big man who can knock down perimeter shots and is in the prime of his basketball life has real value. Kaminsky checks all those boxes. If I had two spots to add, I would definitely want to add him as one of those spots.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it. I certainly wouldn't. I see what you're saying. The player that I saw in the chat, which I if this is what they're waiting on, I wouldn't hate it either. Is Otto Porter Jr. Like if he ends up getting bought out by the Raptors, and if that's who the Warriors are waiting on, I would not hate that at all, man. That would be a phenomenal addition. But I'm with you. Yeah, Frank Kaminsky. I mean, yeah, sure, sign me up because we see clearly from the Saric minutes that he's playing with this weird twin tower thing that Kerr's implementing. We haven't seen that in a long time. Kerr is implementing that because Saric can shoot the three. So he's all about space. Like that is Kerr. You can tell clearly that's what he wants. He wants space. That is why Anthony Lamb was playing last year because he could shoot the three decently. So yeah, Frank Kaminsky. I mean, I could see it. I wouldn't hate it. So anyways, great show. Thank you, brother. Again,
anytime, man.
And subscribe to the Krueg Show. Again, 27K and counting. You're blowing up.
Now, 26 on our way to 27, but we've added almost 3,000 in the last month. And we're going to be putting out a lot of Warrior content. We're going to be talking a lot of Warriors. Looking forward to a fun season talking Warrior ball. And we won't do every live stream off every game, but we'll do live streams, 2-3 times. Every 5 games, we'll do 2 or 3 live streams. And I'm looking forward to talking about this team this year. It should be a fun story.
Absolutely, man. Kurt Porter, just to make you happy, you were flooding this feed with Victor Oladipo. Chat. I don't want Victor Oladipo. To me, whoever you add for that 14th spot cannot have ego. And Victor has a little too much of that for my taste. I don't know.
I mean, he's also got, didn't he have like a major quad tendon issue?
Yeah, he gets hurt all the time. I'm not getting super excited about that. But just want to entertain that.
But that's the beauty of that. See, that's the beauty of their spot right now. I think what's clear is there's guys out there, and there are gonna be guys out there that are better than Rudy Gay. And so, and now they're looking, and I think they went with Rudy Gay with the idea of, hey, we need a veteran. Now they're looking around going, wait a second, we've got some really nice veteran players here. We got good leadership. Maybe a younger player who, could maybe, run up and down and play more minutes. And I don't know. I mean, I'll say this though. I do feel like great enthusiasm for the way this thing's coming together.
Absolutely, man. Real quick before you go, Larry, we haven't played any sound, and this clip just dropped of Jonathan Kuminga, who talks about his preseason and how he felt he did. Let's hear what Kuminga has to say real quick before we wrap the show up.
How would you look at and evaluate your preseason 5 games?
So far, I'll say it was a great one. Just to go out there and have a feel of the game, knowing everybody. So far, like I said, it was good. I would say I'm proud of it for sure.
What are the things that, did you like? What are the things you liked that you did and the things maybe you want to work on some more?
I mean, I'll go with not just the team policy, but like pretty much whatever the team's like. Gotta cut them turnover down a little bit, and I feel like today I actually did better. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm just working on it, watching film. I was supposed to watch film with coach about those turnovers. I feel like so far that's the only things I gotta work on, And as the game go, as the season go, as I get even way more comfortable, things like that won't happen.
Yeah, he had 5 turnovers last game. That was something that a few people brought up, but he only had 2 tonight. So kudos. I love this kid.
I love that kid.
Love him.
I seriously, and the biggest landmine that the Warriors sidestepped was not trading that guy when people were down on him coming out of the playoffs, and it sounded very much like he was available. And oh my God, that would have been such a colossal screw up. I mean, how many guys have that guy? This guy's got a body like a Dominique Wilkins.
Bigger even. Yeah.
And guess what? Dominique Wilkins got traded on draft night. I think he got drafted by Utah and traded to the Hawks.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that. That's crazy.
And it's like, do not trade guys who have this level of future. I mean, I'm so glad they didn't trade him.
Same.
And I'll say the other thing I think was kind of a really good thing that I heard the other day was when Joe was on 95.7 The Game, Lake Up, and he admitted that he wanted Dwight Howard, and then he's been infatuated with Dwight Howard as a player, and blah, 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 blah. And then he said, but, our players and our basketball people, we're not. And I just love the fact that Joe has this passion, has this interest, is hands-on, but defers to his players and his basketball people. I was a little worried that he was going to become this Jerry Jones-like figure.
Yes.
Where it's like, hey, I don't care what everybody else wants. I want this, And because he's so passionate and he thinks that he knows the game on a level that's really high. And I'm sure he does compared to most owners. But, that was a major concern for me, Cy, was that he was going to become like, he was going to believe that he's the reason they won titles and stop listening to the players and stop listening to Kerr, stop listening to the front office and just kind of dictate everything to everybody. It sounds like he's got input, but that he's not dictating to everybody, that he's believing in his basketball people to make the right decisions. I think that's a major, major positive. Absolutely. I know he's still probably a nightmare. Like Bob Myers left because he was annoyed as hell that guy kept calling him every day, 19 times. I mean, that's clear. That's clear as day. But it's now Dunleavy's problem to deal with. But I just like the fact that, and Dunleavy might have the perfect disposition to be able to deal with, to deal with Joe and his impulsive nature. But it just seems like the entire team, the entire franchise right now seems like they're in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Somebody's on the bottom here says, Rich Dub says, I wonder if Bagley or Poku get cut. I love Poku. And Bagley has got a lot of talent as well. Are you talking about Marvin Bagley?
I imagine. I
take those guys right now. Right now.
And I just want to add too, like, I do believe that part of the reason Poole was traded was because the team felt Kuminga could step in for and fill a lot of the gaps that Poole left when he got traded, especially when it comes to scoring. But what Kuminga
Poole's going to lead the league in scoring, by the way.
You think he's going to lead the league?
Yeah,
Jordan Poole. Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll remember this moment if that comes true.
Light it up.
But Kuminga and Chris Paul, the Warriors were last year in free throw attempts. They're going to change that. Kuminga has figured out how to get to the line. You see him doing that swing through move that Chris Paul probably taught him. And then Chris Paul himself always figures out how to get to the line. So those easy points are coming. There's just from the difference between last year and this year is so night and day that Dub Nation should feel encouraged. I really do believe that. Larry, thank you, brother. Have a great weekend. Absolutely. I hope you enjoy this Sunday off. Since the Niners are playing Monday night, so you get a little breather there. And thank you, everyone. We good? We done? Larry, anything else you want to drop? Or are we all good? All good?
Kurt Porter says trade Klay for Lauri Markkanen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure you.
The other teams don't have a say in this, I guess, now.
I'm sure Danny Ainge will absolutely take that call. Bye, everyone. Take care. Larry, love you, brother. Peace out, everyone. Bye.